Hi, I'm Ella. Welcome to the X-Ring channel. Today we're going to be shooting long range all the way out to 700 yards, and I'm going to show you how easy it is. Today we're going to be shooting a brand new rifle thanks to Desert Precision Gunworks. This rifle is chambered in 223 Ackley Improved in an MDT ACC chassis. This barrel is a Douglas Premium Palma Contour 416R stainless. I have a Night Force 4-16 scope and an F3R machine scope mount. This base does have 20 minutes of angle. Even though this rifle is 223 Ackley Improved, you can still shoot 223 through it. I just received this rifle yesterday, so the first thing we need to do is zero it at 100 yards. Since this rifle has never been shot before, we need to bore sight it. So we're going to look through the barrel, and you're going to find an object. And then once you find any object, you're going to move up to the scope. And if it's not there, then you need to go ahead and adjust your turrets. My dad and I loaded 223 Remington. We need to shoot this to fire form to the 223 Ackley Improved. All right, so now we need to get it zeroed at 100. So I hit what I was aiming at, and now I need to make sure we zero the turrets for windage and elevation. Now I'm going to confirm it as steel at 100. Now we're going to shoot at 200 yards. If you don't have a ballistics app, you can always download it on your smartphone. My ballistic app tells me that at 200 yards it should be 4/10. Now let's try 300. What's nice about the Arca rail is that if you don't have enough table, you can always slide forward. 300 calls for 1 mil, so we're going to dial it up to 1 mil. Now we're going to shoot at 400 yards, and I need to adjust it to 2 mil. Now we're at 500, and my data calls for 2.7. Now we're going to try 625 at 3.5 mils. Unfortunately, we can only go out to 700 yards. There's a 10 by 10 steel out there, and we're going to go for 4.2 mil. Long range is not as hard as it's made out to be. Just keep it simple. Keep your eye out for my next video on tips and tricks for long range shooting. Big shout out to Ken from Eagle Eye.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the X-Ring. So I've got Mini X with me today, Ella, and we have an exciting new rifle that we had built for her and also for myself to do some training with. And I do want to talk about this setup because this was basically assembled and built for me by Desert Precision Gunworks out of Lake Havasu, Arizona. Specifically Eagle Eye Precision on YouTube, and it's Kenneth E. So big shout out to him for doing this. We've been talking about this and he's been working on it for about 6 weeks. What we decided to go with was something that was very light recoiling for her to shoot, but also heavy enough to still be stable for any type of precision rifle shooting. This weighs in, as it sits, at 17 pounds. Now that's with bipod scope and everything else. So let's talk a little bit about this system that we had built for her. What we chose was an MDT, the ACC chassis. This doesn't have a folding stock. I didn't think it was necessary. Does have the adjustable length of pull and cheek riser. It's very simple to use. And I kept the scope lightweight, went with a Night Force 4-16 first focal with a Trimmer 3 reticle. This does have a really robust set of rings on it. This is the F3R machine. Big shout out to those guys. And then I put a Badger Ordnance base on here. It does have 20 minutes angle of taper. So let's talk about some of the other things that are on here, what Ken actually did. Basically, we used a Remington 700 Action. He blueprinted it, trued everything up, and then ordered a Douglas XX 1 and 7.5 twist barrel. I also had the rimage conversion put on here because I want to be able to use something like a 6mm arc or something in the future. I actually have a Bartlein on order for that. It'll probably go into this. But guys, if you're not familiar with it, basically, you can take a Remington Action and with this Savage rimage conversion is what they call it, you can actually use this tool, remove this, and as long as you have the headspace and everything set, you can just screw on a new barrel. So this barrel is a 26-inch barrel and it is chambered in 223 Ackley Improved. If you're not familiar with that cartridge, basically you're blowing the shoulder out of a 223 and you're allowing about 10% more case capacity with about a 40-degree shoulder. She had no problem shooting this today whatsoever. The only thing is we did not have any magazines. They were back ordered, so she had to single feed each round. Was the recoil less or more than, let's say, the AR?
It was a lot less.
A lot less, and that's probably because it weighs 17 pounds the way it sits. So some of the other things that Ken did is he did the fluting of the bolt itself, and he did a 5/16 by 24 threading on this. He actually makes this bolt knob here. I wanted something with a longer throw for her. It'd be a little easier for her to manipulate that bolt. One of the things that I did as soon as I received it, this actually came with a Remington 700 trigger. You guys know these are junk. I don't like them. But big shout out to the guys at Velocity Triggers. These guys sent out a Remington 700 trigger. We have it dialed in at exactly 2 pounds. I went with a flat face, red. I figured she would like that, and it's very, very crisp. This chassis is a really, really nice setup. It is a little heavy, but it does have the integrated Arca Swiss in it, which gives you a lot of versatility for different accessories, things like that. This does have the Harrell tactical brake on here. This is threaded in half 28, so I can still run a suppressor or something like that if I want. It did have a 90-degree crown. He put that on there for me, so like I said, Ken does some great work. He actually even had it lasered on here, made for X-Ring. As far as the recoil lug, it's a .25 precision ground recoil lug. You guys can see it's pretty heavy duty. It's not a little skinny one. But what we're going to do is get to that footage of Ella shooting it today. And so what we'll do is we'll follow this up with some other videos of her shooting long range and giving you guys some tips and tricks and not overthinking the long range game itself. Alright, so the case on the left is actually a 223 Remington. You'll notice the shoulder angle here. This is loaded up with an 80 grain Hornady ELD. Once we shoot this in the 223 Ackley Improved or the 223 AI, you're going to notice that it blows the shoulder out to about a 40-degree angle. This is going to increase the case capacity by over 10%. That can equate to over 200 feet per second, so you know what that could do for the heavier bullets.